The lobster bisque was still steaming when Trevor announced he was flipping our vacation home for a cool $500,000 profit. Should clear about $250 after renovations, he said. Fork paused mid-air like he was conducting an orchestra. Wade's crew can start demo next week. I've already got a buyer lined up, cash offer, no contingencies. My daughter Alyssa beamed at him like he'd just split an atom. Across the table, my son Evan nodded with that careful enthusiasm he saves for moments when he's terrified of saying the wrong thing. His partner Jordan smiled that smile that never quite reaches the eyes. Mara, my wife, kept eating. Steady, methodical. She has this way of cutting her food into precise squares that makes you think she's not paying attention. She's always paying attention. "That's wonderful, honey," Alyssa said, touching Trevor's arm. The diamond on her finger caught the chandelier light. "The house has been sitting empty for so long. It's really time someone did something with it." Someone. As if the house had been abandoned. As if I hadn't spent the last 8 years paying property taxes, maintaining the septic system, replacing the dock boards after every winter storm. As if the place my parents bought in 1987 was just some neglected investment property waiting for Trevor Kane to discover its potential. I took a sip of water. The ice clinked against my teeth. "Demo?" I said. "That seems aggressive." Trevor leaned back in his chair, spreading his arms like he was embracing the whole room. "That's the market, Graham. People don't want vintage anymore. They want modern, open concept, Viking appliances. We gut the kitchen, knock out the wall between the living room and den, put in sliding glass doors to the deck. Wade says we can have it move-in ready by July." "Wade Mercer?" I asked. "Best contractor on the coast. Booked solid, but I got him to squeeze us in." Trevor grinned. "Called in a favor." Wade Mercer was indeed the best contractor on the coast. He'd rebuilt half the houses in town after the nor'easter in 2019. He also had a temper like a hornet's nest and a reputation for walking off jobs when clients tried to jerk him around. I'd used him myself 3 years ago to replace the vacation home's roof. We'd had beers afterward. He'd told me about his daughter's college fund and how he was tired of rich summer people treating him like hired help. "You've already talked to Wade?" I said. "Signed the contract yesterday." Trevor pulled out his phone, swiping with the confidence of a man who's never had a plan fall apart. "Want to see the renderings?" Jordan helped with the design concepts. Jordan Price, charming as a game show host, ruthless as a corporate raider. They worked in wealth management, or something adjacent to it that involved a lot of lunches and very little actual labor. Jordan had once tried to sell me a whole life insurance policy at Thanksgiving. I'd smiled and said I'd think about it. I hadn't thought about it. "The design looks amazing," Jordan said, leaning forward. "Very coastal living. We're thinking soft grays, natural textures, maybe some reclaimed wood accents." Evan nodded along. "Sounds great, Trev." Alyssa squeezed Trevor's hand. "Dad, you're going to be so proud when you see the finished product. This is exactly what the house needs." The thing about my daughter is that she's never learned the difference between enthusiasm and condescension. She talks to everyone like they're children who need gentle guidance toward the obvious correct choice. She'd been doing it since college, when she'd majored in communications and minored in telling people how to live their lives. "I appreciate the vision," I said, "but we should probably talk logistics." Trevor waved a hand. "All handled, Graham. I've got the permits lined up, the financing is solid, and the title work is in progress. You don't need to worry about a thing." "Title work," I repeated. "Just paperwork," Trevor said. "Formality stuff. Kelsey Shaw over at Coastal Title is handling everything. Should be wrapped up by Wednesday." I set down my fork. Mara glanced at me just for a second. Her expression didn't change, but I saw the calculation behind her eyes. She knew what I knew. "Kelsey Shaw," I said. "Good choice. Very thorough." "The best," Trevor agreed. "She's fast-tracking everything so we can hit the ground running." Alyssa leaned forward. "Dad, I know change is hard, but this is really the best thing for everyone. The house just sits there most of the year. This way, We can actually get some value out of it. Value. As if family memories could be measured in square footage and appliance upgrades. As if my mother's paintings on the walls and my father's tackle box in the garage and the growth chart marks on the door frame were just clutter to be hauled away with the rest of the demo debris. I smiled. You're right. It has been sitting empty. Trevor's phone buzzed on the table. He glanced at it, frowned slightly, then flipped it face down. Anyway, once Wade's crew finishes, we're looking at a listing price around $750. Market's hot right now. Summer people are desperate for waterfront. $750, Evan echoed. He had this habit of repeating numbers like he was testing them out, seeing if they sounded real. That's incredible. Smart investing, Jordan said. Flip it fast, maximize profit, move to the next opportunity. The next opportunity. I wondered what that would be. Maybe my mother's silver. Maybe the car I'd co-signed for Evan 5 years ago and never asked him to refinish paying off. Maybe the college funds I'd drained to cover Alyssa's wedding, the one where Trevor had insisted on a raw bar and a 12-piece band. Mara set down her knife and fork, aligned perfectly on her plate. Trevor, when did you say the title work would be done? Wednesday, Trevor said. Why? Just curious, Mara said. Her voice was pleasant, neutral, the way a surgeon might ask about your medication allergies before putting you under. Trevor's phone buzzed again. This time it didn't stop. It rattled against the table like an angry wasp. Trevor picked it up, glanced at the screen, and his face shifted. Not much, just enough that I saw it. The confidence flickered. I should take this, he said, standing up. His chair skidded backward with a screech that made everyone wince. Everything okay? Alyssa asked. Fine, Trevor said. It's Kelsey from the title office. He walked toward the hallway, phone pressed to his ear. I watched him go. His shoulders were tight, his free hand was clenched. Alyssa laughed, but it sounded forced. He's so dedicated, always working. Jordan nodded. That's Trevor, never stops. Evan pushed his food around his plate. He'd barely touched the bisque. So, Graham, you're cool with all this, right? The renovations and everything? I looked at my son, 28 years old, still asking permission for decisions he'd already made, still looking for approval he'd never learned how to live without. I'm fine, I said. It's your sister's plan. She knows what she's doing. Alyssa smiled. Thanks, Dad. I know this is emotional for you, but trust me, this is going to be amazing. From the hallway, I heard Trevor's voice rise, not quite shouting, but close. What do you mean there's an issue? Mara caught my eye. She didn't smile. She didn't need to. I picked up my fork and took another bite of lobster bisque. It was excellent. The chef at this place always got the cream-to-stock ratio perfect. Not too thick, not too thin, just right. Trevor came back to the table. His face was pale. The phone was still in his hand, but the call had ended. Everything okay? I asked. He sat down slowly. Fine, there's a small complication with the title search. What kind of complication? Alyssa asked. Nothing major, Trevor said. His voice was tight. Just some paperwork that needs to be sorted out. Ownership documentation. It's probably just a clerical error. Probably, I said. Trevor looked at me. Really looked at me. For the first time all evening, I saw uncertainty in his eyes. The property is in your name, right, Graham? He asked. I mean, that's what we've been assuming. It's the family vacation home, so… Assumptions, I said, can be tricky. The table went quiet. Even the ambient noise from the restaurant seemed to fade. Alyssa stared at me. Evan stared at his plate. Jordan's smile finally disappeared. Mara folded her napkin, precise and slow. Maybe we should talk about this at home. Talk about what? Alyssa's voice had an edge now. Dad, what is he talking about? The house is yours, right? I finished my water, set the glass down. Legally, it's complicated. Trevor's jaw tightened. Complicated how? Property ownership structures can be complex, I said, especially when they're set up for estate planning purposes, LLCs, trusts, that kind of thing. My lawyer recommended it years ago. Tax efficiency, asset protection, probate avoidance. An LLC? Trevor's voice cracked slightly. The vacation home is owned by an LLC? Has been since 2017, I said. Holt Family Properties, LLC, registered with the state, tax ID number, the whole 9 yards. My accountant handles the annual filings. Alyssa's face went white. You never told us that. You never asked, I said. Evan finally looked up. Wait, so, does that mean… It means, Mara said, her voice calm and even, that the title search is going to show an ownership structure that's different from what Trevor expected, which is probably what Kelsey Shaw was calling about. Trevor stood up again. This time he didn't bother with excuses. He just walked straight toward the exit, phone already back at his ear. Through the window I could see him pacing on the sidewalk, one hand gesturing wildly. Alyssa turned to me. Her expression was hard. Dad, what did you do? I smiled. I paid the property taxes. Every year. On time. Under the proper legal entity. The way my lawyer advised. You know what I mean. I don't, actually, I said. What did I do? She stood up, grabbing her purse. We'll talk about this later. Jordan and Evan exchanged glances. Evan started to stand, then sat back down, then stood again. Should I… Come on, Jordan said, putting a hand on Evan's shoulder. Let's give them some space. The three of them left together, Alyssa moving fast enough that her heels clicked like gunshots on the hardwood floor. Through the window, I watched them cluster around Trevor on the sidewalk. He was still on the phone. Alyssa was talking fast, her hands moving. Evan looked like he wanted to disappear into the pavement. Mara signaled the waiter. We'll take the check, please. The waiter nodded and disappeared. The restaurant hummed around us, oblivious. A couple at the next table was celebrating an anniversary. The woman was laughing. The man was pouring champagne. Somewhere in the back, someone dropped a tray, and the crash echoed like applause. That went well, Mara said. I laughed, actually laughed. You think? Trevor's face when Kelsey called. Mara shook her head. Priceless. You saw that too? I see everything, Graham. She looked at me, and for the first time all night she smiled. Really smiled. You've been waiting for this. Maybe. Not maybe. Definitely. She leaned forward. How long have they been planning this? I'd guess a few months. Maybe longer. Trevor's been asking about the house since Christmas. Casual questions. Market value. Property taxes. Maintenance costs. I figured he was just making conversation. You figured wrong. I figured exactly right, I said. I just let him think I was oblivious. The waiter brought the check. I paid cash, tipped well, and stood up. Outside, the sidewalk was empty. Trevor and his crew had disappeared. The anniversary couple was still laughing. The champagne was still flowing. Mara linked her arm through mine as we walked to the car. The night was cool, the kind of spring evening that smells like salt water and potential. Stars were starting to appear over the harbor. A gull screamed somewhere in the dark. They're not going to let this go, Mara said. I know. Alyssa will come at you hard. Emotional manipulation, guilt, the whole arsenal. I know that too. She stopped walking and turned to face me. Graham, be honest. What's your endgame here? I looked at her. Mara, 26 years of marriage, 26 years of her watching me get pushed around by my own kids, by their spouses, by everyone who figured out that I was the kind of man who said yes when he should have said no. 26 years of her biting her tongue while I played the reasonable father, the understanding parent, the walking ATM machine. I don't have an endgame, I said. I have a spine. It just took me a while to find it. She kissed me, quick and firm. About damn time. We drove home in comfortable silence. The radio played soft jazz. The headlights cut through the dark. When we pulled into the driveway, I saw the living room light was on. We always left it on when we went out. Force of habit. My father used to say a dark house was an invitation. Inside, the house was quiet. Mara went upstairs to change. I stood in the kitchen, staring at my phone. No messages, no calls. They were regrouping, planning their next move. Probably calling lawyers of their own, trying to figure out what an LLC meant for their renovation dreams. My phone buzzed. Finally. It was an email, forwarded from someone named Bethany Chu at a real estate staging company. The subject line read, Holt Property, Staging Consultation Scheduled. The body of the email was brief. Confirming your consultation for Thursday, 10 a.m. at the vacation property. Please have access codes and keys ready. Looking forward to working with you on this exciting project. The email had been sent to Trevor 3 days ago. He'd forwarded it to Alyssa, Evan, and Jordan, not to me. The email chain showed a thread of responses. Alyssa. Perfect. I'll be there. Evan. Can't make it, but send pics. Jordan. This is going to look amazing. I read it twice. Then I forwarded it to Mara with a single word. Thursday. She replied immediately. Interesting. I poured myself a bourbon. Neat. 2 fingers. The good stuff I kept in the back of the cabinet for nights when the world felt heavy. Tonight it felt light. Dangerously light. Like gravity had loosened its grip. My phone buzzed again. A text this time. From Alyssa. Dad, we need to talk. Tomorrow. Your house. 10 a.m. Please don't make this harder than it has to be. I typed back, see you then. Then I added, bring Trevor. The bourbon burned going down. I stood at the kitchen window, looking out at the backyard. The old maple tree was budding. The grass needed cutting. The fence needed staining. All the small maintenance tasks that pile up when you stop paying attention. Mara came downstairs in sweatpants and one of my old college t-shirts. She looked at the bourbon in my hand. Celebrating? She asked. Preparing, I said. She poured herself a glass and clinked it against mine. To Thursday. To Thursday, I agreed. We stood there together, drinking bourbon and watching the night settle over the yard. Somewhere in the dark, I heard a dog bark. A car drove past, headlights sweeping across the window. The refrigerator hummed. The house creaked. I thought about the vacation home, the cedar shingles, the salt air, the dock where my father taught me to fish, the porch where my mother used to sit with her watercolors, trying to capture the exact shade of the ocean at sunset, the bedroom where Alyssa and Evan had spent childhood summers building blanket forts and catching fireflies in jars. They wanted to gut it, knock down walls, rip out the kitchen where my mother had made blueberry pancakes every Saturday morning, install sliding glass doors where the old bay window used to frame the view like a living painting. I finished my bourbon, set the glass down hard enough to make a sound. Tomorrow, Mara said, they're going to try to convince you that you're being unreasonable. I know. They're going to say you're standing in the way of progress. I know. They're going to make you feel guilty for protecting something that's legally yours. I know all of it, I said, and I'm done caring. She smiled. Good. We went upstairs. The bedroom was dark and cool. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to Mara breathe beside me. Sleep didn't come easy. My mind kept running through scenarios. What Trevor would say, what Alyssa would demand, how Evan would try to play peacemaker while Jordan whispered strategy in his ear. Around 2 a.m., my phone lit up with another email. This one was from Wade Mercer's company, Mercer Construction, LLC. The subject line, Holt Vacation Property, Materials Order Confirmation. I opened it. A detailed list. Drywall, lumber, fixtures, appliances, a commercial dumpster rental. Total cost, $47,000. Payment terms, 50% deposit due upon signing, remainder due upon project completion. At the bottom, a note in Wade's handwriting, scanned and attached. Trevor, got everything ordered. Supplier needs the deposit by Friday, or we lose the spring pricing. Let me know ASAP. W. The email was dated yesterday. Trevor hadn't replied yet. I took a screenshot, sent it to Mara. Then I set my phone face down and closed my eyes. Sleep came eventually, but it was thin and restless. I dreamed about the vacation home. In the dream, it was already gutted, empty rooms with raw studs showing. The floor was torn up, the walls were gone. I walked through it and my footsteps echoed like I was in a cathedral. Trevor was there, standing in what used to be the living room. He was holding blueprints. "It's going to be beautiful," he said. "You'll see." Behind him, Alyssa was painting the walls. Except the paint was black, and it was spreading like mold, covering everything. "We're making it better, Dad," she said. "Why can't you see that?" I tried to speak, but no sound came out. I tried to move, but my feet were stuck to the floor. The black paint kept spreading. It covered the windows. It covered the door. It covered everything until the whole house was dark, and I couldn't see anything at all. I woke up sweating. The clock read 4:47 a.m. Mara was still asleep. I got up, went downstairs, made coffee. Strong and black, the kind that tastes like determination. Monday morning broke cold and clear. The kind of New England spring day that feels like winter forgot to fully leave. Mara and I were on the road by 7 a.m., 2 travel mugs of coffee and a thermos of soup. The drive to the vacation home took 90 minutes along coastal highways that wound through small towns and pine forests. Neither of us said much. There wasn't much to say. We both knew what we'd find when we got there. The question was how bad it would be. The house itself was cedar shingle and white trim, 2 stories with a wraparound porch and a detached garage. Behind it, maybe 50 yards past the property line, the Atlantic stretched gray and endless. I turned into the driveway and stopped. There was a commercial dumpster sitting on the lawn, bright green, 30 yards. The logo on the side said, "Coastal Waste Management, Demolition and Construction." "They started," Mara said quietly. I parked and got out. The dumpster was empty but clearly new. Fresh tire tracks in the grass where the delivery truck had maneuvered into position. Next to it, stacked on pallets covered with plastic tarps, were building materials, lumber, drywall, boxes of fixtures. "When did this arrive?" Mara asked. I checked the delivery tag stapled to one of the pallets. "Friday afternoon, after they left our house. After the confrontation." "They didn't waste time," Mara said. I walked up to the front door. The lockbox we'd installed last year was still there, but someone had added a second one. Newer. Different code. I tried our combination. Nothing. Tried the new box. Locked. "They changed the locks," I said. Mara pulled out her phone. "That's illegal." "Probably," I said. "But proving it costs time. They're gambling. I'll give up before I lawyer up." I walked around the house, checking windows. All locked. The back door had the same dual lockbox situation. The garage was padlocked with a chain that looked new and expensive. On the porch, I found paperwork duct taped to the door. A permit application from the town building department. Applicant, Trevor Kane. Property owner authorization, signed with my name. The signature was decent but wrong. The capital G in Graham had a loop I never used. "He forged your signature," Mara said. I took pictures, multiple angles, close-ups of the signature, wide shots showing the permit displayed on my property without my knowledge. My phone rang. Wade Mercer. "I'm in," Wade said without preamble. "I talked to my lawyer. He says I've got a case against Trevor for fraudulent representation. I'm filing Thursday." "Good," I said. "But I need your help," Wade continued. "I need you to testify that Trevor had no authority. I need documents proving ownership. I need everything you've got." "You'll have it by Wednesday," I said. "One more thing," Wade said. "My lawyer says if Trevor tries to proceed with the work anyway, that strengthens my case. Evidence of ongoing fraud. So if you see any activity at the property, document everything. Photos, videos, witnesses. I'm standing at the property right now, I said. There's a dumpster, materials, forged permits. Perfect, Wade said. Get everything. Send it to me. My lawyer will love this. We hung up. I spent the next 30 minutes photographing every inch of the property. The dumpster, the materials, the permits, the changed locks. I took video walking the perimeter. I documented everything. Mara was sitting on the porch steps when I finished. She'd been quiet, watching the ocean, thinking. What's wrong? I asked. Nothing's wrong, she said. I'm just wondering how much worse they're going to make this before they give up. Probably a lot worse, I said. And you're ready for that? I sat down next to her. The porch boards were warped from years of salt air and winter storms. My father had always meant to replace them, never got around to it. Now they were part of the character, part of the history. I'm not giving them this house, I said, no matter what it costs. It might cost everything, Mara said. Then it costs everything, I said. She leaned against me. We sat there watching the waves roll in. Gulls screamed overhead. The wind smelled like salt and seaweed and memory. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Holt, this is Bethany Chu from Seaside Staging. I was scheduled to consult on your property Thursday at 10 a.m. Trevor Kane just called and said the project is delayed. Can you confirm if we're still on schedule? I showed the text to Mara. The staging consultant. Are you going to tell her the truth? Mara asked. I thought about it. Then I typed, project is canceled. I never authorized it. If Trevor Kane told you otherwise, he was lying. The response came back fast. Oh, that's awkward. He already paid my deposit. $1,500 non-refundable. Tell your lawyer to add Trevor to Wade's lawsuit. I typed back. No response after that. We stayed at the vacation home until noon. I wanted to be visible. Wanted neighbors to see us there. Wanted anyone who might be watching to know the property was occupied and monitored. At 11:30, an older woman walking a golden retriever stopped at the end of the driveway. Graham, is that you? I recognized her. Patricia Novak. She owned the house 3 doors down. Retired teacher, active in the neighborhood association, incurable gossip. Hi, Patricia, I called. How are you? Oh, fine. Just surprised to see you here. Trevor was around on Saturday saying you'd signed the property over to him. Something about renovations? I walked down the driveway. Trevor doesn't own this property, he never did, and I never signed anything over to him. Patricia's eyebrows went up. Oh my, that's not what he said at all. He was very clear. Said you were retiring to Florida and wanted to liquidate assets. I'm not retiring to Florida, I said. I'm not retiring anywhere. And Trevor has no authority over this property. If he's been telling people otherwise, he's been lying. Well? Patricia's face took on that look people get when they've just discovered premium gossip. That's certainly interesting. He was very convincing, you know. Even showed me architectural renderings on his phone. Modern kitchen, open floor plan, very impressive. All fake, I said. He forged permits, changed locks, and ordered materials without my permission. The whole thing is fraud. Patricia's dog sat down and started scratching behind his ear. She didn't notice. She was too busy absorbing every detail to relay at the next neighborhood association meeting. So, the dumpster? She asked. Delivered Friday without my knowledge or consent, I said. And the materials? Same thing. My goodness! Patricia was practically vibrating with excitement. Wait until Diane and Susan hear about this. They were just saying at book club how nice it would be to see the old Holt place fixed up. They'll be shocked to learn it was all a scam. Not a scam, I corrected. Just theft. But feel free to share that with Diane and Susan. Patricia promised she would, absolutely, and walked away so fast her dog had to trot to keep up. By tonight, half the neighborhood would know. By tomorrow, the whole town. Trevor's reputation would start crumbling before he even knew it was happening. Mara had watched the whole exchange from the porch. When I came back, she was smiling. "You just weaponized Patricia Novak," she said. "She was already a weapon," I said. "I just pointed her in the right direction." We locked up, or tried to, with the only locks we still controlled, and drove back home. The trip felt longer this time. Traffic was heavier, the sun was brighter, my shoulders were tight with a tension I couldn't quite name. When we got home, there were 3 missed calls from Evan and 2 from Alyssa. No messages, just calls. The kind that said, "Pick up, we need to talk, this is urgent." I didn't call back. Instead, I called my lawyer, Dennis Murphy. We'd been using him for estate planning for years. Quiet guy, detail-oriented. The kind of lawyer who reads every clause twice and asks irritating questions about hypotheticals. "Graham," Dennis said when he answered, "I was wondering when I'd hear from you." "You heard about the vacation home situation?" "Evan called me Friday," Dennis said. "Wanted to know about property transfer protocols. I told him I couldn't discuss it without your consent. He wasn't happy." "Evan called you?" I said. "When?" "Friday afternoon around 3. Said there was a family discussion about transferring the Ocean View property to a trust that would include him and Alyssa. Asked if I thought you'd be receptive." I closed my eyes. Evan. Switzerland. Evan. Neutral Evan. He'd been involved from the start. He'd just been quieter about it. "What did you tell him?" I asked. "I told him that property transfers require owner consent, and that I couldn't speculate on your intentions without speaking to you directly." He tried to push. Asked if there were any workarounds for uncooperative property owners. I shut that down immediately. "Workarounds," I repeated. "His word, not mine," Dennis said. "So, what's actually happening?" I told him everything. The dinner announcement, the LLC revelation, the forged permits, the contractor deposits, the changed locks, Trevor's lies to the neighborhood. All of it. Dennis was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Graham, this is bad. Really bad. Forged signatures on permit applications? That's a crime, not a civil matter. A crime." "I know," I said. "Are you going to press charges?" I thought about it. "Not yet. Maybe not at all. Criminal charges would destroy Trevor completely. It would destroy Alyssa by extension. I'm angry, Dennis, but I'm not trying to put them in prison." "Then what are you trying to do?" "Stop them," I said. "Make them pay consequences. Make sure they never try something like this again." "Consequences without prison," Dennis said. "Okay, we can work with that. But you need to move fast. Wade Mercer's lawsuit is step 1. That creates financial consequences for Trevor, but you also need to protect the property. File a restraining order preventing any work until ownership is resolved. Document everything. Get the forged permits in front of a judge. How fast can you make that happen?" "Emergency motion. I can file by end of day tomorrow. Hearing by Friday, maybe sooner if we push. Judge Bailey owes me a favor." "Do it," I said. "This is going to cost money," Dennis warned. "Legal fees, court costs, could run $10,000 or more." "I don't care," I said. "Whatever it takes." "All right," Dennis said. "I'll draft the motion tonight. I'll need you to sign a sworn affidavit tomorrow. Bring every document you have. Permits, emails, property records, photos, everything." We hung up. Mara had been listening from the kitchen doorway. $10,000 in legal fees, she said. "At least," I said. "Worth it?" "Absolutely," I said. She nodded. "Good, because I found something while you were on the phone." She handed me her laptop. Open on the screen was a Facebook group called Ocean View Neighborhood Association. The most recent post was from Trevor, dated Saturday afternoon. "Hey, neighbors. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up that we'll be doing major renovations on the Holt family property over the next few months. There will be noise, trucks, the usual construction chaos. We appreciate your patience as we bring this beautiful old home into the 21st century. Looking forward to being more active in the neighborhood community. Trevor Kane. The post had 47 likes and 23 comments. Most were supportive. So exciting! Can't wait to see it. Beautiful work, Trevor. But 3 comments down, Patricia Novak had struck. Just spoke with Graham Holt today. He says he never authorized this project and that you're lying about owning the property. He says you forged permits and that you're committing fraud. Not a good look, Trevor. The comments after Patricia's were a mix of confusion and concern. Wait, what? Is this true? Trevor, can you clarify? Trevor had replied to Patricia. Patricia, there's been a misunderstanding. Graham is elderly and sometimes gets confused about business decisions. The family is working together on this project. Everything is legal and above board. Thanks for your concern. Elderly. Confused. Family is working together. I read it twice. Then I screenshot it and sent it to Dennis with a note. More evidence of misrepresentation. Also, I'm 53, not elderly. Dennis replied, Perfect. This shows intent to deceive. Print it before he deletes it. I printed the whole thread. 10 pages. Every comment, every like. The timestamp showing when Trevor posted and when he responded. Documentation, evidence, ammunition. My phone rang. Alyssa. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Yes? Dad. Her voice was tight, controlled. We need to talk, face to face, today. We talked Saturday, I said. It didn't go well. Because you were being unreasonable, she said. But I think if we sit down, just the 2 of us, we can work this out. I don't think we can, I said. Dad, please. Her voice cracked. I'm your daughter. I love you. I would never try to hurt you. If you'd just listen. I'll listen, I said. But not in person. Not after Trevor forged my signature on permit documents and posted lies about me on social media. Silence. Then, he what? Check the Ocean View Neighborhood Facebook group, I said. He called me elderly and confused. He told the entire neighborhood I'd authorized the project. He lied publicly, Alyssa, just like he's been lying privately. Dad, I'm sure he didn't mean— He meant exactly what he said, I interrupted. And so did you when you signed off on all of it. So no, we're not meeting face to face. We're not sitting down for coffee. We're not working this out. You made your choice. I'm making mine. What does that mean? Her voice was rising now. What choice are you making? I'm protecting what's mine, I said, with lawyers if necessary, with restraining orders if necessary, with whatever it takes. You're going to sue us? She sounded genuinely shocked, like the idea that actions might have consequences had never occurred to her. Wade Mercer is going to sue Trevor, I said. I'm just providing evidence. But yes, if you continue trying to claim authority over my property, I'll take legal action to stop you. Oh my God, she was crying now. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. You're going to destroy your own family over a house? You tried to steal my house, I said. I'm just defending it. Those aren't the same thing. We weren't stealing. We were improving. I hung up, turned off my phone, set it face down on the counter. Mara was watching me. You okay? I'm perfect, I said. That night we made dinner together. Chicken piccata, Mara's recipe. We ate on the back porch again, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and purple. The maple tree was nearly full now, green and lush. Birds were building nests in the branches. Tomorrow's going to be hard, Mara said. Probably, I agreed. Dennis will need the affidavit. That means reliving everything, writing it all down, signing your name to statements that could end up in a courtroom. I know, I said. And once you file that motion, there's no going back, she said. It becomes public record, court documents. Anyone can read them. Trevor, Alyssa, Evan, their friends, their employers. Everyone will know. Good, I said. Let them know. Let the whole world know what they tried to do. Mara was quiet for a moment. Then, "You've really changed." "Is that bad?" "No," she said. "It's just different. You used to avoid conflict at all costs. Now you're walking straight into it." "I got tired of being a doormat," I said. "I know," she said. "I just want to make sure you're not becoming something else." "Like what?" "Like someone who cares more about revenge than resolution," she said. I thought about that. Really thought about it. Was this revenge? Was I trying to hurt them because they'd hurt me? Or was I just defending what was mine? "I don't want to hurt them," I said finally. "I just want them to stop. And if stopping them means they get hurt, that's not my responsibility. They chose this path. I'm just refusing to be a victim." Mara nodded slowly. "Okay, I can live with that." We finished dinner, cleaned up, went to bed early. I lay there in the dark, listening to Mara breathe beside me. Steady. Even. Peaceful. I wasn't peaceful. My mind was racing. Tomorrow would bring the affidavit. Wednesday would bring Wade's lawsuit filing. Friday would bring the court hearing. Every step was escalation. Every step was permanent. But I didn't feel regret. I felt clarity. For the first time in years, maybe decades, I knew exactly what I was doing and why I was doing it. I wasn't reacting. I wasn't placating. I wasn't trying to keep everyone happy at my own expense. I was drawing a line and daring them to cross it. Around midnight, I heard a car pull up outside, engine idling. I got up and looked out the window. A dark sedan. Someone sitting in the driver's seat looking at the house. I watched for 5 minutes. The car didn't move. Finally, they drove away. Slowly, like they wanted me to know they'd been there. I went back to bed but didn't sleep. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. I'd turned it back on out of habit. A text from Evan. "Dad, I'm sorry. About all of it. Can we please talk? Just you and me? I'll come to you. Anywhere you want. Please." I stared at the message. Evan. My son. The peacemaker. The one who always tried to make everyone happy, even when it meant making himself miserable. The one who'd called Dennis asking about workarounds for uncooperative property owners. I typed back, "You called my lawyer asking how to work around me. We have nothing to talk about." The response was immediate. I was just trying to help. I thought if we could find a solution everyone agreed on, this would all blow over. "There is no solution where everyone's happy," I typed. Trevor lied. Alyssa helped. You knew and said nothing. Those are the facts. Everything else is just noise. "I didn't know," Evan wrote. "Not until it was too late. Trevor said you'd agreed. I believed him." "Then you're naive," I wrote back. "Or complicit. Either way, we're done talking." I turned off my phone again. This time, I put it in a drawer in the other room. Mara stirred beside me. "Who was that?" she murmured. "Evan," I said. "Trying to play Switzerland." She said, already drifting back to sleep. "Too late for that." "Way too late," I agreed. Tuesday morning was gray and cold. Rain threatened but didn't deliver. I drove to Dennis Murphy's office at 9 a.m. The building was old brick downtown, 3 stories, shared with an accountant and a dentist. Dennis's office was on the 2nd floor, small and cluttered with file boxes and law books. He had coffee waiting, strong and black. We sat across from each other at his desk, and he slid a draft affidavit toward me. "Read it carefully," he said. "Every word matters. If something's wrong or incomplete, tell me now." I read it. Slowly, carefully. It was 8 pages, single-spaced. Every lie Trevor had told. Every action taken without my permission. Every document forged or misrepresented. The affidavit laid it all out in cold, legal language. "This is perfect," I said. "Sign at the bottom of each page," Dennis said. "Initial every correction. Then we'll get it notarized." I signed. 8 pages, 8 signatures, 8 times committing to the truth of what had happened. The notary was the receptionist downstairs. She watched me sign with bored efficiency, stamped each page, filled out her section, and handed the document back to Dennis. "Emergency motion is ready to file," Dennis said. "Judge Bailey's clerk says we can get a hearing Thursday morning if we push, Friday at the latest." "Thursday works," I said. "Graham, before I file this, I need to ask one more time. Are you absolutely sure? Once this is in the system, it's public, it's permanent. Trevor and Alyssa will be named in a court document accusing them of fraud and misrepresentation." "I'm sure," I said. Dennis nodded. "Then we're going to war." He filed the motion electronically while I watched. 3 clicks. Upload affidavit, attach exhibits, submit. The system confirmed receipt, case number assigned, hearing scheduled, Thursday at 9 a.m., courtroom 3B. I drove home feeling like I'd crossed a bridge that had burned behind me. No going back now. The legal system was in motion. Judges would read those documents. Clerks would file them. The public record would reflect Trevor's lies and Alyssa's complicity. Mara was waiting with lunch, sandwiches and soup. We ate without talking much. The gray day pressed against the windows. Rain finally started around 2 p.m. Steady, cold. The kind of spring rain that feels like winter, making one last stand. My phone rang. Wade Mercer. "Just got off the phone with my lawyer," Wade said. "We're filing tomorrow morning. Lawsuit against Trevor Kane for fraudulent inducement, breach of contract, and misrepresentation. We're asking for the full deposit amount plus punitive damages and legal fees." "How much total?" I asked. $60,000, Wade said. "Maybe more if it goes to trial. My lawyer thinks we can settle for 40. "Think Trevor has 40,000? I asked. Wade laughed. "I have no idea, but I'm going to enjoy finding out." "I sent you the affidavit and exhibits this morning," I said. "Everything Dennis filed with the court." "Got it," Wade said. "My lawyer says it's gold. The forged permits alone are enough to win. Everything else is just making it worse for Trevor." "Good," I said. "Graham," Wade said, his tone shifting, "I just want to say thank you for helping me, for not making me fight this alone." "You're not alone," I said. "We're in this together." "Yeah," Wade said. "We are." We hung up. The rain was coming down harder now. I stood at the kitchen window, watching it pool in the driveway, watching it stream down the gutters. Mara came up behind me and rested her head against my shoulder. "It's really happening," she said. "Yeah," I said. "Are you scared?" "No," I said. "I'm ready." That night, the rain didn't stop. It hammered against the roof. It overflowed the gutters. It turned the backyard into a swamp. I lay in bed listening to it, feeling the weight of what I'd set in motion. Thursday morning would come fast. The courthouse, the judge, Trevor and Alyssa seeing the affidavit for the first time. The restraining order preventing them from touching the property. The beginning of the end, or the end of